So it's about 1:30 on Sunday the 23rd of March, and we've not actually been down the allotment since Wednesday when I did the last video. The weather's not been fantastic. We were going to go yesterday, but it wasn't that inspiring. And today, I don't know if you can hear it pitter-pattering on the roof above me, but it's raining a bit, and I'm going to crack on with some indoor jobs. So welcome to the conservatory. It has mostly not been in a good state for videoing, and I spent some time in the last week tidying it up a bit and making it useful, and getting access to it, taking some stuff off to storage, getting rid of some junk. So we have a bit of a workspace here. I've moved on from the kitchen table as the workspace, and it's time to pot on those chilies. So you have seen some stuff in here before. This is the hot fridge, and it's currently off, but that's where we germinate our things like our chilies, capsicums, eggplants, and the next in it will be the tomatoes, which I haven't done yet. I don't like to start them too early because they tend to go crazy. They grow super fast. And I've been doing a little bit of work on the bikes, sort of sorting out their lights and reflectors and stuff, and planning a bike cart, which is a whole other story, like a wagon to pull behind the bike. So yeah, I've got the bike tools dug out here. There was a mulcher in here, which I've now moved off to storage. And yeah, so yep, welcome to the conservatory. It's not looking too bad right now. The big black fridge behind there is going to be the future hot fridge and possible chili overwintering space, but it's not sorted out yet, and it's just being used as storage. And yes, that's our strimmer in front of it, taking up a lot of space, and that really belongs off in storage too. So what we've done here is pulled out our first little plants. These are our X1s, and I've totally forgotten what that is, so I'm going to go get my reference, which I've left in the other room. As you can see, with some of these, we've left 2 plants per pot, and these were supposed to have been thinned out way before they got to this stage. So we're going to have to sort of carefully tease them apart or rip them apart. There's only so careful you can do when they've got that much root ball going on, and pot them on, and that'll probably set them back a bit, but we've got enough time. It's thankfully we got a not too late start on the chilies this year. Right, off to get my reference sheets. Okay, so I went and got them. Our X1s, there are 7 pot primos, one of the hottest chilies in the world. Not the hottest, but it was a contender at one point. Bred by a chap called Troy Primo in the US, and obviously of a 7-pot variety, which is a chili that's got a funny name. But the idea is 1 chili is enough to make 7 pots of curry or stew. I think it's a Caribbean variety, or maybe East Indies or something. But yeah, so this is our 7-pot primos, and I tried to grow them the other year, didn't get anything out of them. They need a really long growing season, so I'm feeling a little bit behind the curve on these ones, but we'll get them on, we'll get them out there, and we'll see what happens. What I'm going to do this year is I'm going to have 1 plant in the ground and 1 plant in a pot, because when you grow them in pots, they tend to be smaller, but they tend to fruit earlier. So I'm going to try and encourage to actually get some fruit off this by having 1 in a pot. And 1 of them will go either in the polytunnel or the ground in the greenhouse. I've got a lot of chilies, so I haven't really decided what's going where. So I'm potting up, and I'm going to do 2 for myself of most varieties, and then 1, or if there's any spares, 1 or 2 spares, I'll pot them up separately to hopefully pass on to some other people, either at the allotment or elsewhere, maybe. We'll see. Okay, time to get potting. Okay, so we're going to try to do a potting up video, and these are what we're going to be potting into. I bought these, I think, a couple of years ago. Didn't end up using them last year because we kind of had a crap year, and pretty much ended up going straight from our little seed pots into the ground, I believe. So this year we're doing things properly. We're on a better timeline, and we're going to get things into these planters. So yeah, that's what I'm putting into. And they'll go from that either into the ground or into their next pot size up, which will be their final pot size in most cases. So when we plant chilies, what we like to do, as you've probably seen on any other video about chilies, is we like them nice and deep because they will develop roots out of the stem there. And what I tend to do is put a little bit of dirt into the bottom and then determine the height I want it at. Now these are nice stubby seedlings, not too leggy, so I won't put them up too deep. I won't put them down too deep because I don't want to. So that's about right. And then we just shove in the soil. Now this soil is a mixture of basic compost from, I think, from Wicks. What we tend to do, and did do this season or last season, is we buy at the end of the season when they have some discounts on, and get a big pile of compost discounted, I think 10 bags in this case, and use them the next season when the compost has gone back up in price again. And this is, what is this? This is a Miracle Grow brand. Oh, someone's honking their horn out there. This is a Miracle Grow brand, and I think it has some little fertilizer type pellets in it, like these little orange balls, if you can see them. Don't know if that's going to work. I can't see the camera screen, of course, because it's up in the air. All right, so he's potted up. Now, when I've got these two together like this, what I do is just using my fingers, I tease them apart. Now, if I've got one that I'm preferring, which is this stronger seedling here, I tease it such that the stronger seedling is the one that gets the majority of the root ball, and he just becomes a little backup seedling. Now, my stronger seedling will get potted up the same as the other one did into here. Just pull off some of those lower leaves. Right, yeah, so back to my potting compost. It's a mixture of that normal off-the-shelf potting compost plus 1 part in 10 perlite and 2 handfuls of blood, fish and bone per 10 parts of compost, and also 1 part of vermicompost. Because I happen to have some on hand, I've done the vermicompost thing. Now, with our spare, which isn't part of our core seedling mix, it's more of a backup, I don't pot him into such a big pot. Over on the side, I've got some smaller options. So he'll go in that. And that means we've got that one sitting there as a backup. And if anything should go wrong with our 2 primary ones, we have backup chili, which can go into the sort of proper planting rotation. And we'll just pop him over to the side. So yeah, so that's our 7-pot primos potted up. And we're going to look at X2s next. And I look at my little map here. My X2s are my Nagamoriches. So the way I often plant things is the very first things I plant tend to be my super hot chilies, and then I sort of graduate onto the less and less hot ones, and the last ones I plant are the most mild chilies, mainly for the reason the milder ones tend to be the fastest growing. And the super hots tend to be the ones that need the most time. So I always give them that little bit of an advantage. So we've got another double seedling here. And I'm just going to squeeze that pot a little bit and carefully draw them out. And the problem with leaving them so long, as I have, is often they're a little bit harder to get out of the pots. Oh, and we don't want to do them any damage. I'd rather squeeze up the root ball than apply excessive force pulling the chilli. There we go. I mean, yeah, look at that. There's far too much root in there, really. But it's good to have such healthy little plants. So, on the bright side, they're healthy. And here's one that's all on its own. There we go. And he's pretty good too. Great. So, Nagamoriches. Same process. This one's quite short, so we'll put an extra bit of dirt in there and get him buried in there. Now for watering, on this size of pot, I'll get a watering can and take him outside and overhead water him, because I like to get that settling in of the dirt effect on the chilies. And again, we'll tease this apart. The runt goes off to the side with the smaller amount of root ball retained. The bigger, happier seedling goes in here. And this one's a little bit taller, so we're putting him a little bit lower down in the pot. I don't know why I'm calling it a him. I'm terrible at that, referring to plants and objects as him. And I really should stop it. But here we go. I shall gradually manage to push myself off that habit. So there we go. Nagamorich is in there. And I was just about to call him Mr. Nagamorich. Funny enough, actually, one of my woodworking teachers in high school, many years ago, was called Mr. Naga. So there you go. Everyone called him Nags, as is the Australian way of shortening every name you possibly can, even when it's barely 2 syllables long. And then this little runtling will just pop into one of these little pots like the other one before. And what we're going to have to do is start labeling these, because otherwise I'm going to totally lose track of what is what. And that's no good. I have various plans for high-tech ways to label seedlings, including I've got some RFID tags that I've used a little bit for that sort of thing. And that works fine. It's all very well. But it's a little bit of a faff. At the end of the day, what you can do is just write something on a pop stick. Now, I need to find my pencil, which I don't have. Now, the main problem with pop sticks is they can wick up liquid and the writing gets very obscured on them. So I like to try to make sure my writing is right at the very top and I stick to my codes. So they're X1s, which are my 7-pot primos. And I put it on both sides for redundancy. Normally I use pencil, not Sharpie for this, but pencil's in the other room. X1 for my little one down here. And then for our Nagamoriches, X2. And that's it. That's what we'll do for all of our chilies. I won't subject you to a super long video of dozens of chili pottings. We'll get back to this when everything's potted up and on display. Okay, there we go. That is 74 chili seedlings potted up. That's trays. Well, sorry, that's lots X and Y. Z is not done because they're still growing on in the grow shelf and could do with a bit more growing before I pop them on. As you can see there, we had the first lot of pedrons in the Y that didn't work out, so I grew a second lot with new seed because the seed just turned out to be a bit old. So if we turn around, we can see all these potted up seedlings now. What I've done is the long trays have the ones that I'm definitely keeping in. Two of most varieties, just one of a couple of slightly unusual ones, the Kangstar ones, which were freebies from Chili Chump. So I've grown one just to see what it turns out as. They're not really a target variety. Unfortunately, these trays I got don't really fit any of my drip trays very well. So I've got one in a long drip tray there, plus a couple that I put into bigger pots because they were quite big plants. Probably should have done with that one at the end there too, but oh well. And then these shorter trays just have the extras in it. So I've got quite a few backup seedlings. And yeah, so there's another big tray. So that's that long tray is more of the ones we're keeping for sure. Now, most of these will go in either a greenhouse or a polytunnel. We've got the allotment polytunnel, of course. We really hope we'll get that allotment greenhouse built because that gives us more space. And we've also got a small greenhouse on the shared grounds of the property that we live on that we have commandeered. Then this tray here is another one of the extras. So we've got two trays of extras and two long trays of keepers. This is some well overgrown lettuces that should have been pricked out as tiny seedlings. Whoops. And I'm trying to decide if I'd prick any out or just use them as a cut and come again crop. These ones are probably salvageable as pickouts. They are charred. I don't know what variety. It's a bright lights or just a general color mix. I can't remember. So yeah, that's what I'm moving on to next. I'm going to deal with some of these lettuces and stuff. We've also got some more lettuce up here and sparse germination of spinach. And I haven't quite decided what to do with them. The ones out in the back there are just cut and come again crops we've had growing in here. And that's there's just some foxgloves in the front there. And this is our cabbages and a few more chard, I think. And the cabbage is probably just best to thin that down to one per cell. I don't know why I've grown so many in there. I can't remember what my original intention was. But anyway, I shall crack on with these chards and decide what to do with those lettuces. Okay, it's been a bit of an epic afternoon and evening of potting and seed sowing. So at least I've done something useful despite not being at the allotment. This here is the 2023 Charles Dowding calendar. I find it a useful reference to just get an idea of what to plant and when. He's very fuzzy with his timing, so that's great for me because I'm very fuzzy at everything. So yeah, so that's up on the fridge there alongside the chili guide over there. And we'll have a look at what we're up to at the moment. So these are a couple of chili plants that I've overwintered. It's a Bikino red and yellow. They're little baby pepper dew type chilies from Chili Chump. That's where I got the seed from. They're not looking the healthiest. I've always struggled with overwintering chilies. But what I've done is I've emptied the dirt off them. And in an ideal world, what we'd do is we'd actually clean off these roots and put them in completely new soil. Now I've actually got 4 of each of these. I think 3 or 4 of each of these in seedling form, which are looking quite healthy and healthier than these little things are. Though these do have obviously bigger root systems. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pot them up, but I'm not fussing about cleaning their roots off and using totally new potting mix. I've mixed their existing potting mix, which was put together at the end of last season with some of the dirt around their sort of root ball already. And I've mixed that with some fresher stuff, bit of feed in there. So we'll see how they go, and I'll pop them on in a moment. The other things I've done today is I've pricked out these overgrown little chards. I've got one little pot of 3 there, which I'm hoping will grow okay to do a little planting in the corner of one of the beds here at home. This is 12 of those chards there on the left, and the right is 4 different varieties of beetroot. I've actually got 3 varieties of red beetroot. Well, kind of red. I've got the Chuggia, the classic red and white one. I've got a white beet, and I've also got the classic Bolt Hardy, and then a Pablo F1. I thought I had a golden. I don't. The seed packet was empty. And then over here, we've got the winter density lettuce on the right, and then sort of a mixed lettuce on the left. I thought there's going to be some red in that, but there's no sign of any red. But it doesn't really matter. We're not very big lettuce growers or eaters. In fact, we're not really big on lettuce. And then in the middle, I've got 2 rows of multi-sown radish. And the beetroot, of course, is also multi-sown. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff, other stuff going on over here. This is where I pricked out the lettuces from. I've left those plants in there in case some of them don't survive that sort of rough process. I'm not very gentle with them, and plus they're a bit overgrown, so they're all pretty tangled together, so I don't know how that'll go. These little leggy bastards here are mostly cabbages, 2 varieties. There's Chinese cabbage, which is generic, and also some I've forgotten the other one, Yuki cabbage, and I don't know what to do with them right now. It's too hard to prick them out of these tiny cells. I may just cull them off down to the one that's sort of closest to the ground. They're just a bit leggy. I'm not happy with that. Cabbage is another thing we don't grow very much, and you can tell, can't you? We're not very good at it. Meanwhile, there's some spinach down here. I'm pretty bad at just general leaf crops, so I need to improve on that and my leaf crop husbandry, and how I sow them and care for them. I think they always end up legging with these long bits here, and I think I need to prick them out earlier and get them buried in deeper at that stage, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to pot these little chilies on, and then we'll go and look at what else I've done. Okay, so here's the grow light shelf in the study, and as you can see from last time, if you remember, there were a lot more bigger chilies here, but some of them have been evicted to the porch now. They'll either live there or they won't. And these are those 2 little ones that we were just looking at in the conservatory. I've moved them back in here as to not shock them too much. They've been repotted and now they're back in the warmer spot, and we'll see how they go. So what I've done around here is I've planted all these different seeds into different things. We've got some flowers. Hottentot figures a little succulent. I grew it once before and killed it, so I'm going to try again. Just tip the rest of what was left in the seed packet into that. 4 varieties of basil back there. So the idea with these little takeaway containers, and I've not done this before, is to hopefully get them germinating pretty quick, and get the fungus gnats out, or keep the fungus gnats out, I should say. The concern is there could be mold problems, but we'll see. This is an experiment as such. We've got a few fungus gnats around the place. This one here is hollyhocks on the left, a black or very dark purple variety, and chamomile on the right from a packet of chamomile seed. That's an experiment too. And then on top of that is 10 modules of celeriac, which will be put into a windowsill because they like to go cycle through heat and cold apparently, and germinate under light. So there's just all these ones with vermiculite are basically surface sown. And this is the tomatoes. So we soak them overnight in chamomile and they get planted out tomorrow hopefully. There's also some tomatillos there. So I think we've got 12 varieties of tomatoes, and 2 varieties of tomatillo. And this is some seeds my sister sent me that I never got around to planting, so we're going to give that a go. Some Swan River daisies from back home. So yeah, that's what we got up to today. It's been a long afternoon and evening. It's around 9:30 now, I think. And yeah, so these are these overwintered chilies here. I think that's a CC piri piri, and I'm not sure what this is. Oh, this is a CC jalapeno, and amusingly, you can actually see a jalapeno has grown in there. That has grown over winter. There were some little flowers on there. You can see sort of dying out flowers, so they're definitely living. We'll see how healthy they can be. See if we get nice big plants out of them for this season. But yeah, that's us done. No allotment time this weekend, but hopefully the weather will improve and we'll get down there and get some stuff done during the week. We'll see what happens.